I'm sure you've heard this one before. You are the sum of your experiences. And some of the most influential experiences come from your childhood. This once-in-a-lifetime period can be the deciding factor of whether you live a life of health and wealth or one of hardship and failure. The great thing is that you have the power to overcome any obstacles you went through growing up. Stick around to the end of this video and I'll explain how. What's going on, guys? My name is Tony CUELLAR, and on this channel we talk about all aspects of personal development for the up and coming man. In this video I want to talk about how the way you deal with circumstances will affect your future. Specifically, the way you deal with your childhood adversity. And to do that, I want to tell you one story from my life to show you exactly what I mean. When I was but a boy, my father was absent for the majority of my upbringing. As I grew older, he lived in a different country where he would raise another family. This left me, along with my mother and brother, to fend for ourselves. My mother had to work constant hours in order to keep a roof over our heads while we were in school. When even her best wasn't enough to keep up with bills, our home was foreclosed. This forced us to rely on the kindness of relatives for shelter. It didn't last for long, as we eventually found a place to call home, but that was the least of our worries. On top of our poor finances and single parenting, I developed bad behaviors as a kid. I would stay out past curfew, surround myself with the neighborhood thugs, and undermine my teachers. As a result, I started failing school and I blamed everyone else but myself, especially my father. What had changed my life from then on was the day my school's vice principal called my mother in to tell her that I had missed the most amount of days of any student there and I was far from passing any classes. Being my naive self, I felt that I accomplished something. I was one of the cool kids that didn't give a shit about school. But as I saw my mother taking in the news while sitting next to her, teardrops started to fall down her face. And for the first time in my life, I was able to see all her frustrations and stress as a single parent. She wasn't angry with me. She was disappointed, a motive stronger than any punishment she could have given me. I cried alongside her and came to the realization that I needed to change for my future and for my mother, who had sacrificed so much to give me a better life than she had. From there on out, I promised to be a better son. I started showing up to school on time and paying attention in my class. My grades only improved slightly, but it was enough to get the ball rolling. During the summer break into high school, I struggled with low self-esteem from my poor performance. I began searching for a way to improve my way of thinking, if that was even possible. YouTube was the most familiar social media site for me at the time, so naturally, I searched there first and stumbled across Eric Thomas' famous classroom speech. This speech gave me faith that I could change for the better. When the first year of high school arrived, I was determined to the fucking max. My goal was to get straight A's within every subject. It didn't matter to me what it would take. I would spend many late nights in our kitchen table completing homework and studying for the upcoming week's test. I could have asked for tutoring at my school, but I needed to do this on my own and see what the hell I was made of. And if I ever got stuck on a question, I would just search for the explanation online. When my grades improved, I noticed a shift in the way people perceived me. Don't get me wrong, I was an ugly, scrawny ass teenager, but my teachers and peers began speaking to me with a sense of recognition. Never in a million years did I think I'd become the kid that people would ask to copy homework, even from the students I thought of as the smart ones. It was a life-changing perspective for me because for once in my life, I wasn't seen as a nuisance or a hopeless boy. All I needed to do was take responsibility for my future and apply myself to whatever it was I wanted to accomplish, and it could be done. Whatever childhood difficulties you dealt with growing up are not your fault. You were just a product of your environment. The problem is that the world doesn't always hold the right people responsible. So we can't wait until that happens, if it ever happens at all. We have to take ownership for ourselves and work with what we have. If there's one lesson I'd want you to take away from this video, it's that you have to take responsibility of your circumstances, regardless of who is at fault. Growing up, it would have been easy for me to blame my father for our struggles, but how was that going to help me? It wouldn't, no matter how much I wanted it to. When I showed my mother my report card with straight A's, all I could see on her face was relief. Relief that all her hard work and sacrifice wasn't for nothing. Her son was going to be alright. And that's exactly what I want for you. I want you to get out of that hellhole of a victim mindset and improve for the better. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that short story of my life. As I said in the beginning, this is going to be all about personal development for the up and coming man that are just looking to grow and are looking to change their circumstances for the better, and they don't want to be products of their environment. They want their environment to be products of them. But anyways guys, I appreciate you. If you can, definitely, if you want to be a part of this community and grow together, go ahead and subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.